I cover my children's expenses as well. My sister barked and sent me a $12,800 bill. School fees, electronics, summer program. I replied $0. 7 days prior to Thanksgiving, I caught her confiding in our mother. I've got a strategy. Post-meal, he'll cover my children's costs. Mom agreed. No additional children exist in this clan, so I altered the arrangements. On November 23rd, my sister messaged, "Where are you?" I chuckled and suggested not to hold off for me and the food delivery. My name is Ryan. I'm 34. The middle child, usual chauffeur, family tech support. I store extra batteries in my car's storage compartment, a document scanning application on my mobile, and a small journal where I note what I lent and which dates someone promised repayment by Friday without fail. I'm an accountant for a modest building firm. I enjoy orderly columns, matching receipts, and coffee that's gone slightly stale because I lose track when immersed in data sheets. My elder sister, Ava, is the favored one. In advertising, loud chuckle, manageable hair. My younger sibling, Nate, is appealing in a manner that always secures a place to stay. Our folks revolve around Ava as if she's the sole source of heat in the cosmos. It's always been like this. Her successes earn monologues. Mine receive a gesture. Nate gets he's discovering his path. I don't grumble. I manage the family messaging group with schedules and anniversaries. I capture pictures at gatherings since others forget. I repair printers. I transfer funds via app. I arrive. This year I also noted Thanksgiving, November 23rd on an adhesive label and attached it to my refrigerator. I had an agenda. Head to my parents' home. Deliver the Brussels sprouts. Assist my father with the collapsible table. Tolerate the courteous comments on my unmarried status. Head back early. Straightforward. Maintain harmony. Avoid initiating conflict. Then, the Sunday preceding Thanksgiving, I visited my parents' residence to deliver an extra ice chest. The rear entrance jams unless you raise and shove. I raised and shoved. I was partially inside when I detected voices. In the kitchen, my mother's hushed, piercing voice, Ava's vibrant assurance. "I've got a strategy," Ava stated, and I could detect the grin. Following the meal, he'll cover my children's expenses. Straightforward, we possess the bill. School fees, electronics, summer program, everything. I'll pass it across with a sweet course. "What's the amount?" my mother inquired. "Merely $12,800 for the term. Not a complete year." My mother emitted that endorsing murmur she reserves for Ava. "No additional children exist in this clan," she remarked like a motto. "We all contribute. He'll make the correct choice." Something within my torso froze. I hadn't shifted yet. I remained near the washing area, grasping a plastic ice chest, gazing at a pile of neatly folded kitchen cloths, and synchronized my breaths with the ticking timepiece on the wall as if I could align with something more serene. I heard Ava mention, "He won't refuse before the group," and my mother respond, "He never has." I placed the ice chest down softly, retreated through the jammed door, and lingered on the veranda until my pulse steadied. During the drive back, my phone vibrated. A message from Ava. "Alert. I'll require your payment info post-dessert. It's easier if you handle it, all right? Affection. Heart symbol. Praying hands symbol." The bill document arrived shortly after. Title: "Cover my children's expenses too." I didn't reply. I fixated on the crimson digits on my dashboard, how the fuel indicator blinks at the identical spot weekly, and I contemplated my journal with rows of times and identities in my precise script, and how those rows never appeared to conclude. That was the initial spark. I didn't react immediately. I set my phone screen down on the adjacent seat, drove home without sound, and prepared a turkey sandwich that lacked flavor. I sat at the counter, heard the refrigerator drone, and gazed at the colored pencil artwork my nephew presented last year. 3-line figures and a son with excessive rays. He inscribed Uncle Ryan near enough. I convinced myself not to exaggerate. It's merely conversation, I reasoned. It's simply Ava acting typical. It's just Mom performing her role. I cleaned my teeth, activated my alarm, and attempted rest. I couldn't. This didn't originate with a $12,800 bill. It began ages ago with minor sums, and the manner all smiled when I retrieved my payment method. When Ava welcomed her initial child, I handled the medical facility parking since cash was overlooked. When her second arrived, I settled the midwife down payment because we'll reimburse you Friday. Friday became the following Friday, then a heartfelt gratitude note with a voucher to a coffee shop that shut in 2018. Whoops. Ava giggled, snatching the cover from my grip. "You ought to have redeemed it." I settled Nate's speeding fine because he claimed it would devastate his coverage eternally. I covered my parents' power charge when auto payment glitched. I purchased the additional portable seats we utilized last Thanksgiving since the prior ones creaked, and my mother stated the creak pained her skull. Nobody requested. I offered. That's my fault. I enjoy being helpful. I appreciate the sensation of an issue resolving. The financial narrative in our household is basic. Ava encounters costly crises. Nate faces pressing prospects. My parents deal with ongoing shocks. I possess reliability. My mother utters reliable as if it equals infinite. She adores stating, "We're immensely proud of your mutual support." That's family essence. She expresses desires aloud that I aim loftier, and simultaneously messages me images of Ava's online shopping list with "Could you acquire these?" as the text. She declares we're not tallying points, and then tallies in unseen script. I began lightly tallying in my journal. Not from malice, from reason. January 12. Ava, $180, excursion funds plus fresh footwear. March 3. Nate, $400, rental deposit he lost. April 29. Parents, $200 $260, repairman, rows, dates, annotations like vowed Friday, and a tiny mark when funds returned. Few marks. Ava's children attend an exclusive academy that mails shiny publications with images of youngsters in jackets grasping string instruments. She labels it the commitment. She also applies commitment to fresh mobiles, seasonal retreats with polished pamphlets, and a programming set that exceeded my initial computer cost. Her spouse, Eric, is pleasant until finances emerge. Then he becomes silent and glances at his timepiece. They're not antagonists. They're accustomed to the universe reorganizing to render their decisions appear wise. A year prior, Ava forwarded a bill via email titled Urgent Education Shortfall. $3,600. Just manage it and I'll resolve with father, she composed. My father never resolves anything but fasteners into containers in the shed. I settled it. I assured myself it was the final occasion. Then arrived science packages. Only $799. Ryan avoids stinginess. They're inquisitive. And autumn excursion to DC. Merely the initial payment. $500 currently, they'll gather funds afterward. And aid request charge. A charge to seek aid. This one devastated me. I lack offspring. My estimates for upcoming expenses reside in a small section named eventually. But I'm aware housing costs rose. Dairy rose. Dental care is extravagant. My vehicle requires fresh rubber. The molar that aches occasionally needs repair shortly. I plan with the subtle alarm of one who understands 3 poor periods could wipe 10 positive ones. I've refused Ava, occasionally. Once she presented a tangible bill at my nephew's celebration like a gift. Electronics, she stated. They require them for education. I stated they don't need dual tablets and fresh earpieces for early school. She stated it's for their cognitive growth. My mother, slicing dessert, stated don't hinder them. I stated they possess more gadgets than me. Ava stated perhaps that's your issue. Eric chuckled and stated he's traditional. My father increased the volume. When I resist, my mother becomes tactical. No additional children exist in this clan, she'll declare, meaning every cost is shared. We don't divide. We all fulfill our roles. The role distributions are enigmatic and permanent. Ava's role is choosing fine items. Nate's role is amusing all. My role is funding the fine items and absorbing the humor. There was the period my parents overlooked reserving for land duties, and I advanced it since fines frightened them. There was the period Nate's housing owner warned expulsion, and I advanced him since it's complex. There were the festivities I acquired half the meals because the term delivery makes my mother feel regal. She terms it mild delivery. Nothing mild about the charge. I repeated the identical phrase each time. It's kin and I can manage. Here's the aspect I dislike confessing. Being the savior is satisfying until it isn't. It renders me feel competent. It converts chaos to calm. But calm purchased with bitterness isn't genuine calm. It's restraining breath until the space settles. You still choke. So when I overheard Ava inform my mother I've got a strategy, post-meal he covers. Something unsteady inside me stabilized. Not fury, not immediately. Just an inner denial prohibited. Not once more, I didn't message back. I didn't share the bill with Lena. No Lena exists here. It's solely me. I didn't contact my grandmother for support. I prepared a dish of flakes at 11 p.m. and consumed it upright. And I rehearsed the phrases. I can't manage that. In my cooking area until my feline entered, settled, and gazed as if I was presenting a valid argument. I rested poorly. Each time I dozed, I heard my mother declare, no additional children, and I envisioned a surface with a portion of pastry and a document and all gazes shifting to me. In the dawn, I positioned the bill on my workstation and examined the details. School fees, $8,400. Electronics, $2,100. Summer program, initial plus equipment, $2,300. Sum owed, $12,800. Payment due immediately prior to Thanksgiving to evade penalties. Ava had included a remark. You can apply your points card. I shut the file, approached the reflection, and voiced aloud, no, it seemed minor. Then I repeated it until it resembled a full statement. Thanksgiving preparation is a custom in our household. My mother creates the roster. Ava incorporates lavish elements. Nate vows frozen water and overlooks it. I bridge the voids. This year, my mother desired mild delivery for the bird and accompaniments because the cooker despises me. She described the selection like reciting verse. Seasoned bird, fancy potatoes, shiny vegetables, pasta dish for the young ones, triple pastries. We'll collect breads, she appended as if that simplified the remainder. Who's funding? I questioned though aware. Avoid beginning, she stated. We're all contributing. It'll be below $1,000. That's fair. I imagine the funds I'd already dispatched this period. $300 to Nate for temporary until Tuesday, $210 for my parents' medicine share because the method failed, and the ongoing $70 network charge I settle because you configured it, dear. It's simpler if you maintain it. I sense the minor aching tooth. I stated I can't manage delivery this year. I'll deliver Brussels and a sweet. My mother exhaled as if I'd spilled a dish. Ava's young ones won't consume Brussels sprouts. They'll consume what's served, I stated. My tone startled me. It held firm. She emitted a sound. Ava's managing the key portion, she stated, referring to the bill. Avoid complications. I didn't respond. I stated I'll arrive at 2. Then I disconnected and sat observing my wall timer. It clicked like a foot on furniture. I accessed my messages, viewed the bill once more, and experienced a surge of heat. Then it cooled. Inside is a chill. 2 days before Thanksgiving, Ava messaged again. Hey, provide the payment details so I can pre-process with the academy and program. Saves effort Thursday. I composed. No. She responded with numerous queries, and an audio clip that began with amusement and transitioned to, are you genuine? Ryan, avoid awkwardness. It's for the lads, you're skilled with finances. You adore planning, just handle it. I phoned. I'm not settling your bill, I stated, not a penny. She emitted a noise like she'd submerged her device. Pardon, I'm not settling. I won't debate it at the meal or post-meal. And if you raise it, I'll refuse before all. You're penalizing my young ones? I'm not penalizing anybody, I stated. I'm terminating a cycle. I can't continue supporting your selections. I'm not a secondary guardian to your young ones, Mom stated. I overheard what Mom stated. I interrupted. No additional children exist in this clan. That's false. There are your young ones. There are Nate's future young ones. There are potential upcoming young ones. There are grown-ups who chose, and there is me. I'm permitted to be distinct. She fell silent, then astonishing. During Thanksgiving week, you're unfeeling. I'm limit-filled, I stated, and promptly rued the wording but not the intent. She disconnected. That evening, my mother phoned with the manner she employs for medical visits. Ava informs me you're complicating. I'm refusing. She began the lecture. We nurtured you. We sacrificed. We never demanded. You demanded, I stated. You demand constantly. You simply don't label it so. She remained quiet long enough to seem like a small success. Then she attempted another approach. Kinship isn't exchange-based. Currency is, I stated. And this is currency. You'll lament this, she stated, tone becoming tiny and keen. I already lament the prior 5 brief crises, I stated. And we lingered in the silence for a moment. And then she stated, all right, bring nothing, as if it was discipline and disconnected. I assumed I'd feel ill. Instead, I felt as if I'd been gripping a weighty sack by the grips and finally released it. A week prior to Thanksgiving, I visited my parents once more because I wished to face my mother directly and test my determination. I entered the driveway. The drapes were parted. I could observe my mother at the surface with her folder of rosters, Ava next to her, both focused on documents. I raised and shoved the jammed door. I detected their voices before they noticed me. I've got a strategy, Ava stated, identical manner as prior. Post-meal, he covers my young ones as if she was detailing a placement arrangement. I'll perform the speech on thankfulness. I'll discuss unity. Then I'll pass the bill across. He won't shame me before the lads. My mother agreed. No additional children exist in this clan, she repeated. He'll make the correct choice when he views their expressions. I entered the view. Hello. They both startled. My mother concealed the document with her palm like an adolescent hiding an exam. Ryan, oh, we didn't detect you. Jammed door, I stated. Ava regained composure quickly. Perfect moment. Listen, regarding Thursday. No, I stated. We're not performing that. She chuckled vibrantly. Performing what? The act. The speech. The bill. I'm not settling. Not currently. Not post-dessert. Not afterward. You truly wish to handle this here? She questioned, softening her tone as if I was causing disturbance. I wish to handle this once, I stated. My mother's lips compressed. You're acting harsh. I'm acting precise, I stated. Precision appears harsh when you're accustomed to obtaining your desire. Ava advanced the bill toward me regardless. Just examine. I've examined, I stated. It indicates $12,800. That's not my obligation. All gain when my young ones thrive, she stated. That's how clans build assets. I gain when my reserves persist, I stated. I gain when my vehicle acquires fresh rubber before the surface wears. I gain when I can manage my dental procedure. I'm not igniting myself to maintain you comfortable. You adore those lads, my mother stated. And it was an assertion, not an inquiry. I do, I stated. I adore them sufficiently not to link their happiness to my spending cap. Ava fixated. You've transformed. I've observed, I stated, and pivoted to depart because the dialogue was circular and I'd return to the origin. On the veranda, my phone vibrated. It was the delivery service. Hello. We require the payment method on record to process the initial for Thursday. I could view my mother's outlined form in the pane. I envisioned her glowing when the platters came, boasting about mild delivery. I sensed the sack grips in my palms again, the burden of years. I inhaled. I won't be submitting that request, I stated. Please remove my details from the record. If another wants to manage, they'll contact you. The lady stated okay in a rehearsed manner. I expressed gratitude. I disconnected. Then I placed another call. I messaged my acquaintance Caro, who operates a small eatery that prepares festive packages. Any availability for 2 compact Thanksgiving packages? She had. I settled for one for myself and one for Nate because I knew he'd resort to flakes if my mother escalated. Collection November 23rd at 1 p.m., she messaged. Completed. I also traveled to the market and acquired a chilled pumpkin pastry because a vacant dish on a silent surface can seem like a minor defeat. I placed the pastry in my chiller and attached a label. November 23rd. On NOV 23rd, 11:15 a.m., my phone illuminated. Ava, where are you? Mom, arrival time. Dad, your mother is anxious. The group discussion. Avoid tardiness. I captured an image of the heavens, vacant and crisp, and then composed back to Ava. Don't hold for me and the delivery. She dispatched a barrage of words. WHAT, are you joking? Mom assumes you're collecting it. They're present already. Guests are arriving. You're going to embarrass us. I composed. I informed you I wasn't settling. Enjoy your strategy. I modified mine. Then I set my phone screen down and collected the eatery packages. I delivered one to Nate's residence. He opened the entrance in footwear and gratitude. "I adore you eternally," he stated, seizing the package. Mom mentioned there's tension. I gestured indifferently. "There's precision." He agreed as if he'd anticipated that term. I returned home, heated my meal, sliced the pastry, and consumed at my small surface with the struggling greenery that persists, surviving regardless. I viewed a film I've watched 10 times. It seemed like a day within my existence, not a show I was conscripted for. The communications continued. "My mother, how could you? My father, you placed us in an awful spot. Ava, you're non-existent to me." Then another. "Okay, not non-existent, but astonishing. Then you destroyed Thanksgiving. Then the lads are weeping. They weep without sweets. I understand the process." I delayed until 7 p.m., then I returned my mother's call. "Did folks eat?" I questioned. "Yes," she stated firmly. "We requested flatbreads." "Good," I stated. "Joyful Thanksgiving. You should express regret," she stated. "For what?" "For deserting your kin," she stated. "I didn't desert anyone," I stated. "I declined to fund a scheme." "There's a distinction. You did it for notice," she stated. "I did it to halt draining funds," I stated. "You believe you're superior," she stated. "I believe I'm distinct from you," I stated. "That's fresh. I appreciate it." She disconnected. Ava messaged at 9, "We must discuss." "Tomorrow, midday," I responded. "No, next week if desired." "Not regarding funds," she responded. "You're incredible." I set my phone to silent mode and dozed, hearing only my heating system. The consequences week appeared thus. Monday, my relative phoned to say I shattered my mother's spirit. I stated it'll mend. Eric left an audio message detailing their money movement like I'm a finance overseer. I erased it. Wednesday, my grandmother messaged a heart and proud of your firmness. I wept in my vehicle for 2 minutes near the tool shop. Thursday, Nate dispatched an image of a vacant dish with gratitude inscribed in sauce. I chuckled excessively at that. Friday, my mother shared a social media update about offspring nowadays and forfeiting principles. I resisted commenting principles aren't a repayment scheme. A week afterward, Ava dispatched a briefer bill. School portion solely. $8,400. I responded with a connection to an aid initiative at the academy and a planning model. She composed, "Don't handle me like a client." I composed, "Okay," and didn't. 2 weeks afterward, my mother attempted a fresh method. "Can you at minimum cover Yuletide meal?" I stated. "I'll deliver 2 accompaniments," she stated. "You lack affection for me," I stated. "I affection you sufficiently to cease deceiving via payment." Quiet. Then, we'll observe. 3 weeks afterward, Ava phoned from her vehicle. "I could detect indicators. I despise you," she stated. I attended. Then she stated, "No, I don't. I despise this difficulty." I stated. "Me too," she stated. "The lads inquired if Uncle Ryan is upset with them." I stated. "Inform them I adore them. I simply can't be the finance source anymore," she stated. "Eric claims you're exaggerated." I stated. "Perhaps it's effective." We concluded the call with nothing resolved and no bill dispatched. That seemed like a victory. It's calmer now, not mute. Just reduced of that humming sound where I can't detect my thoughts. I'm discovering that tranquility isn't all pleased with me. Tranquility is me not enraged at myself. My mother still declares. No additional children exist in this clan. I declare there are, and I am one. My father still attempts to negotiate details. Okay, what if we divide equally? I declare I'm not dividing your selections. Nate still requests $40 occasionally. I provide if possible. He reimburses lately. He dispatches an image of the transaction with an approval symbol like we're both demonstrating something. Ava has largely ceased dispatching bills. She dispatches inquiries instead. Know a budget program? Is there a second-hand market for electronics? How to configure automatic payment? I assist when I have capacity. I declare no when I don't. She attempts to induce guilt monthly. I allow it fade. She dispatches an image of the lads at the playground occasionally. I like it. I dispatch a decal collection, not a computer. A decal collection. I installed fresh rubber on my vehicle. The sound on the road is altered, consistent, secure. I scheduled a dental visit and informed the cleaner I want to repair the covering in March. I configured a small automatic deposit to a category named eventually. It stores $100 monthly. It's not remarkable. It's mine. For Yuletide, I delivered pasta dish and baked vegetables. My mother attempted the phrase again. "You lack affection for me," when I refused to fund mild delivery. I stated I affection you. I'm not settling. She narrowed eyes, then embraced me like she was irritated and loving simultaneously. That's my mother. I received the embrace, not the bill. If you're perusing this because a relative passed you a charge with a grin, or because you caught them organizing your kindness like a climate occurrence that always transpires, here's what I discovered painfully. Note your phrases. Actual statements. I can't manage that. That's not my obligation. I'm terminating a cycle. I adore you. No. Voice them aloud in your cooking area until they cease trembling. Anticipate folks to label you harsh when you become precise. They're unaccustomed to a distinct you. Anticipate the messages, the unanswered calls, the extended updates about kin principles. Anticipate the calm after you maintain your position. That calm is strange and truthfully lovely. I didn't repair my kin. I altered my role. I ceased funding disdain. I ceased treating my funds like an extinguisher for poor organization. I ceased mixing assistance with availability. I began being an individual with my own planning and my own festivities. On November 23rd, when Ava messaged, "Where are you?" I chuckled and informed her not to hold for me and the delivery. That was the initial festivity with my fresh guideline. It wasn't a victory. It was a surface with 2 arrangements and a pastry, and a man consuming gradually and sensing something fresh. Ease. My name is Ryan. I'm 34. Middle child. Accountant. Individual with limits. There are indeed other children in this clan. One of them is me, and I'm finally behaving accordingly.